With the little children, we decided to make them into really small groups. And with the parents' consent, instead of having it during school hours, the so-called school hours, we went on to the evening hours because that suited them. So we asked our parents whether that would be appropriate. And it was all, we took their responses and then built our routine around that.
Okay, fantastic. So there's obviously a huge element of parent engagement that's gone into how you've gone about this. What you just pointed out there, ma'am, in terms of communication and holistic skills and development, I think that's very appropriate because that is something, in my opinion, we should all be working towards. In fact, that is the foundation of, of what we do and what we teach the British Council as well. There was an interesting comment from Mr. Hiram Kulkarni. Hi, so you talked about learning to learn. Maybe just what did you mean by that? Yeah.
Yeah, yes, okay. Hi, thanks for making us actually here so thanks to VExpo and you all. So I guess one of the important thing that what is happening in this new normal, or that the 20% of the students, there is a study for the next 2 years will be at home by default. Even though the schools will restart. For example, in Finland, we have the schools have started, but we are seeing that even if you have a small sneezing or if you have a small flu, still you have to go through the test, and almost 20% of the students for 20% of the time will be always at home. Now here in this case, the teacher's continuity of learning and the breaks in between, you can't expect the kids to be in the same tempo as the others are doing it actually. So the major control or major approach of the school system should be make the kids of learning on their own and giving them confidence that yes, they can learn on their own. There is a bigger thinking which is going on in the most of the countries. What we have seen actually is that unless and until teacher teaches us, we can't learn. I guess that's not the approach what is happening right now. The content is available at many places. Once we have an approach, that's why in Finnish curriculum, we have given a much first priority of the curriculum is learning to learn. So I guess that will be given part. And for that, we have to give on different ideas and strategies, as well as the teachers training should include this approach so that they can be able to get aware that we are not here to teach only, but we are here to instill these skills.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. So that's the concept of self-access learning and self-directed learning. I think have become more important now, and they will definitely continue to be a part of the learning process of the journey for the child. Digital literacy has come up too in the chat box, and I couldn't agree more. Digital literacy, I mean, I think all of us, teachers, children, parents, all of us have had to develop the skill of being digitally literate. But along with that, what are your thoughts on 21st century skills? You talked about communication, you talked about taking ownership of learning, and then there's digital literacy. What about the other aspects of critical thinking,
problem solving.
lead. Yes, we'd like to hear from Ashok.
Thank you, Anaga, and thank you, Jason and BExpo. And see, when I said creating new stuff, see, I can see a lot of our students building mobile apps at the age of, say 10, 12. So usually when we have a school, we have a fixed curriculum, fixed timing, say 9 to 6, 9 to 4, and they have a lot of stuff to do. But today, these students have a lot of time at their disposal. This is both a bane as well as a boon. It's good for the children who are, sincere and who are very, self-starters, I should say, like people who learn by themselves. So they pick up a lot of skills, and I'm really astonished to see some of the works of our students. I saw a boy who built a game on a mobile app that was amazing, and lots of stuff like that. So the children have a lot of time and opportunity to try out new things which they wouldn't have done before.
Right. Great. I mean, a game, an app, that's
Yes.
amazing. In fact, we've been thinking about STEM for a while at the British Council, and because, it came up on the back of a conversation about what do we really want to do through our English language courses. And it's not just it's very much about English, it's very much about communication, but it's also, about are we equipping children to be able to apply that knowledge, apply how they learn with us across, the core subjects that they need for life, which undoubtedly, are, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, that your STEM gamut. But, and as a result of that, we decided we'd include that onto our courses, and we did. And well, it was quite an interesting experience for all of us, for the organization, for learners, for parents. It was something new. But overall, we noticed that children enjoyed learning much more than they actually ever have. And we've, some of them come back to us quite regularly for the camps, and you can see that noticeable changes in how they feel and how they respond to learning. Have any of you been able to incorporate, Devi talked about how they've brought in clubs. Mr. Kulkarni talked about bringing in the concept of self-directed learning and STEM. So have any of you built in additional components into your education such that online learning has become more useful for your children?
Yeah, Anatma, we had tried. I am Nipa this side.
Hi.
So, in our school for junior kids, we started having project-based learning. So, from class 6 to class 8, especially junior kids, they were supposed to do some experiments, or the teacher used to give some demo, and the children were supposed to note the observations and then comment later. And even, when the classes were going on, the students would switch on their camera and go into their garden and, whatever experiments they had done. So they would give the demo of that, and they are really enjoying that. Even teachers are making videos in their garden, and they are posting it and sharing it with the children. So otherwise that would not have been possible in face-to-face learning.
Okay, great.
So that children are liking a lot, and especially we had a number of activities also where art integration is playing an important role. So especially like comic strips and all. So, and even in science teaching, we are using cartoons and comic strips. So that is also making a lot of difference.
Okay. Yes, Devi. Yeah. Sorry, you're on mute.
I just wanted to say that I noticed that a wonderful thing has happened, and that is a distinct moving away from textbooks. That is really, really wonderful.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that's definitely something I'd like to touch upon in the next section when we look at teacher capacity building, because it's almost like we're wedded to our course books, and how have we moved away from that? But before we move on to that, very quickly, maybe, do you see any challenges or obstacles for your organizations, for your schools, in terms of being able to build the 21st century in the holistic skills? Do you see anything as roadblocks that would prevent you, or maybe slightly alter your route in doing that? Any comments? Sorry, you're on mute again.
I don't wish to monopolize the conversation, but there's one thing I would like to say.
Yeah.
You keep talking about the digital divide, and this is something we need to address, because even though maybe our schools are better off, but even then, whether the students would have the devices necessary, and we do have a section of the student population who are, we deliberately included them, they're below poverty line students. So even the home environment is really not conducive to learning.
Sure.
So these are the things that I feel would, pose challenges.
Sure, I think the digital divide is a real one, and for that to be.
I would like to add something. That what about the children with special needs? That is one more challenge. Being in constant touch with the counselor, so that is also very important. As ma'am said, for economically weaker section students, we are in constant touch, and we are trying to provide them all the notes and everything through WhatsApp, and even we got the notes compiled, and we are distributing them at the gate. We are calling them at different hours, and we are distributing those notes because they don't have such smartphones and all. So that is one of the challenges.
Sure. I think we'll definitely talk about that, Niva, in the third section of inclusion and international exposure. That's a real one as well. I'd like this challenge, the digital divide, to be discussed more in the breakout room. And if you could come up with some solutions. We certainly have managed a way around it. I wouldn't say it's perfect, but it's working for us for now. But I'd like to hear from the others as well in the group when we move into that deep dive discussion. If that's okay, I'd like to move on to the next section, which is teacher capacity building. And that's also a very crucial part. We need our teachers up to speed to be able to deliver our outcomes for children and parents. As Antonius mentioned at the start, we were tasked with moving our entire courses online, and that meant training up all of our teachers to be able to teach online. Traditionally, we've only used course books, and our methodology is play-based for early years and is project-based for primary and secondary. By very nature, you need that physical space, you need to be tactile, you need that interpersonal relationship. So this was a huge challenge for us when we moved online. Not just the course in itself, but we have some really strong-minded teachers who all have over 10 years, 15 years of experience teaching a particular age group. So you have specialist teachers who have their own beliefs. Teacher training was very much a challenge, I'd put it that way. But I'd like to hear from the others in the group. I can see Sharada, Mala, Mr. Ravi Prasad. How has teacher capacity and that teacher training element changed for you? What has happened in your schools? Sorry to put you on the spot there, but we really like to hear from the others. Okay, maybe we'll start with Mr. Kulkarni, and then I'll move on to the others. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, this was a great challenge to start with because in Finland here, actually, we started the lockdown on 20th of March, and for first 2 weeks, everything was in the mess. Even though we had all the practices, technology was there, everything was in very great shape. But I guess the approach was the most challenging, and at the same time, how to manage this part. But I guess one of the basic practice within the Finnish classrooms that we don't have classrooms for more than 45 minutes. Like we always take breaks. So we decided that we will have the lesser time still. So after 15 minutes, there should be break in the online part. So we always continued with this kind of, let's have synchronous learning for a short time and more amount of asynchronous learning. So we decided to have lesson plans in such a way that the asynchronous learning will have a bigger part. So deciding on that part, that's number one. Second important part, designing the synchronous and asynchronous part in such a way so that you can have some kind of interaction within the classroom in the offline mode. Now, this is the really critical part actually here in this case. So that means the teacher should not be able to follow to everyone. Instead of the student should be able to follow to each other. That's the second important part. And even at the early years, we have given this kind of a task to the parents by which they can be able to do this task on their own. And the basic idea behind this part, because we have been following the phenomenon-based learning, which is instead of teaching to a subject, we can talk about phenomenon and then it's very easy. So forest is a phenomenon in Finland, then around that you can be able to talk about mathematics, physics, chemistry, everything at the same time. So this was a good combination that has been happening, and I think it is working well now. Now the schools have begun with a physical atmosphere, but still there is a online component is still also here, but also with our other schools which are outside of Finland.
Yeah, yeah. Asynchronous is an integral, but I don't think it'll ever go away now that it's come in and it's established.
Yes.
I'd like to hear from you, but it has proven to be very effective and efficient for us to have the asynchronous component, not just for learners, but for teachers themselves, to have that accessible learning and training and dependent on, a more senior teacher or a person. Any experiences of this for you, Ashok, in your school?
Yeah. See, previously we had to travel a long distance. Say we are from a very small town in Tamil Nadu, and if something has to happen, it'll happen in Chennai or Bangalore or Delhi or whatever it is. But right now with the online thing that is coming, our teachers are able to participate in a lot of sessions that are conducted by experts who it'll be difficult to meet them in a normal situation. Like if they had to go face to face, it's very difficult. On the similar note, I was also a participant of the core skills workshop of the advanced core skills workshops of the British Council way back in 2014 or 15, I believe. So I guess as we were starting this session, I wanted to suggest you guys, you can do the same thing online with all the 7 core skills. Our school will be really, really happy to make our teachers benefit out of it. We've been continuously participating in the core skills workshop ever since it was started. I was there in the first batch, then afterwards our leaders and then school teachers regularly participated in that even, and you can do that right now with a lot of ease, I should say. You don't need to arrange big hotels or accommodation and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. I mean, everything is online, and there's, a lot of good reasons for keeping some of those elements online. There's no reason why it wouldn't go away. I think that's why that's an important question for us to discuss. And I'd like again for you to do this in more detail in the breakout room. How will you sustain the asynchronous element? How will you sustain the motivation of your teachers to continue to learn by themselves and learn online whilst having a face-to-face presence in school? I think that's an important one to talk. I would, if we can just move on to the next question, and then we'll spend some time on each of the questions in the breakout room. The next one is about, of course, international exposure and truly mainstreaming inclusion. And I think for us at the British Council, for the first time ever, I've had the opportunity of working with my colleagues in more, let's say, in more depth than before from outside of India, but not just for us at the British Council, but also our learners, because we've introduced something called a Connecting Cultures Club, something that, suddenly has become quite popular, and we didn't realize that parents wanted something for that. It almost came up as a response to the current situation. But we're trying to make use of that international element. How has that worked for you? Have you had the opportunity to work with other schools outside of your region area?
It's a very good point that we haven't, thought of. We're so busy solving our day-to-day issues, but I'm sure that will be a takeaway for me today. We do work on the ISA. We are
Yeah.
regularly accredited with the ISA. I think we can ask our teachers to reach out to schools elsewhere.
Exactly. Yeah.
Very, very
Yeah.
good point.
And
Which we
I
haven't,
would like to,
which really missed. We missed it.
I would like to share that we had a workshop, a webinar for teachers, and it was subject-wise actually.
Right.
So for sciences, we had 2 schools from US, and those teachers, they shared their practices with us, and they dealt with certain topics which we had told. And then my subject is biology, biotechnology. So I'm a member with LabX Harvard. So my students, they attended all the webinars that they were conducting. So I was in constant touch. I was like creating my content, my videos, and I was sharing with them also. I'm a mentor there. So I was sharing my videos and everything with them. And even my students and their students, they were able to access all this content. So
Great.
that was well.
Okay, so you've had some experience of that, and that's working well for you. That's fantastic. Any comments from Devi? Sorry, you're on mute. Yeah.
Sorry.
That's all right.
We had a very interesting experience. You know, we do interact with other countries. Of course, we do this ISA. We also interacted with Germany and German schools as well as Chinese school just before the COVID broke out. So, and we teach Mandarin in school and German as well.
Right.
But we haven't, this is a great idea. We'll try to do this on the screen. I'm not too sure whether they've already reached out because some of the things they do on their own also, our students.
Yeah.
I'll find out. And it's a great idea. But we did something quite interesting. We got all our ex-students, our alumni around the world. We felicitate one of them. So we had a session, so they were all logged in from different time zones, and it was a beautiful experience.
Great, great. Okay, fantastic. So maybe it's time we go into breakout rooms so we can discuss these questions in a bit more detail, focusing on challenges and solutions. Of course, we didn't talk about inclusion, but let's do that in the breakout room. Can I ask Jason as host to maybe put us in 3
2 groups, I think. And how many we have? How many you think?
There's,
Yes, Karana.
I think 3 groups, 3 small groups would work.
Okay.
Okay.
Jason,
We've
if
got people
Madhi can,
from, sorry, Anika, we've got people from Hyderabad, Bangalore, Delhi.
Yeah.
You might want to just mix people up from different parts of the country.
yeah. Yes, Jason, if that's possible, that'd be nice if we can have we can
Calcutta.
mix things up a little bit, yeah.
We can do that. I think Madhi, would you want to do it? You've got the access.
Okay, cool. And
Alright.
Anika, maybe you want to just
I do.
brief in the meantime what we've got about 10 minutes, so you would want people to do in that 10
Yeah,
minutes.
Jason.
You don't have
Yeah.
the access?
Jason.
Okay, I'm going to do it. So we're looking at 3 groups, right?
Yeah, 3, 1 for each question. And if you can put Madhi and I in one, so me in one room, Madhi in one, and Antonius in the other. And I will probably take the first question. Madhi can take the second one, and Antonius the third one, international and inclusion. Yeah.
Okay, great. Just give me a second.
No problem.
Sure, I can do the second room on teachers' capacity building. Thank you.
Jason, I would love to join the international room. Thank you.
I heard that.
Thank you.
Just give us a moment, please.
Sure.
You always have some kind of tech trouble with these webinar. If it's not working properly, Jason, I think that's fine.
Yeah, and you learn to, actually, I would say you learn to feel more confident about it every time you get through a tech problem.
Well, half the time you have your IT guys who come in and save your life. And, the other half is the students who save your life.
Yeah,
It's
they're
very-
much smarter than us, you know.
Truth.
Our IT team have been amazing.
I
Sorry,
must say
Jason.
I don't have both the luxuries because we are a very small startup and I become the student, I'm the IT guy, so just give me a
Jason,
moment.
if you want, I
please.
can help you out, Jason. Jason, if you want, I can help you out.
Sure. So one second.
Just have to, do you see breakout rooms on your screen?
Are we in
I'm-
a separate
I'm-
room right now?
I'm sorry. I think I'll not be able to create separate rooms
All right.
because the setting.
Annika, let's carry on.
Right, okay.
Okay,
Is there a
that's
way
fine.
that we could? Yeah.
Fine,
No,
fine,
yeah,
fine,
absolutely.
fine.
That's fine. So what we'll do is we'll just do something similar. We'll focus on challenges and solutions.
But perhaps we get some of our colleagues. So, for example, Lavanya from the Bishop Cotton Girls School to talk to kick that off.
Yeah,
It's a useful thing actually to have, and
Yeah.
then we will all come back together.
yeah,
And
yeah.
your focus here is on obstacles, right? I think this is the key learning. What can we do to solve the problems that we're all facing?
Yeah, exactly. Maybe we can start with the third one, Antonius, if that's okay with you. 'Cause
Sure.
yeah, the international exposure and inclusion. So can I leave that with you for a few minutes now?
Yeah, sure. So I was just saying that I was going to ask Lavanya if she could come in on this element, if she's able to unmute, and then maybe followed by Shraddha. Shraddha? Lavanya is definitely on the call.
Both of them are.
Yeah. Maybe they're having tech trouble like all of us or everybody else. All right. While they try and anybody else wants to jump in, I just want to make 2 points, I would say, on the international element. One is pedagogy and connecting teachers with other teaching networks has been a really powerful tool for us. I really like the idea you were talking about with, connecting alumni around the world. It's a really cool idea. We are connecting through this connecting cultures thing, students from India with students in Egypt, students in Malaysia, in Singapore. So they can actually learn the same subject together. I think this is a really powerful idea. But connecting faculty is equally important. One of the things that we've done recently has been to get our teachers to observe teachers in Hong Kong and in Kuwait. And that has really made a difference in accelerating the pace at which they're learning. So it's about being brave and going out of your comfort zone and finding that. So be brave in connecting with people for your learners, for your ex-learners, and your faculty. Sharing pedagogy. It was really good when I heard that we were getting somebody from Finland here. I thought, great, fantastic. We need to do that at all three of those levels as well. So I would say if you think that there are challenges you have there, it's crucial. I mentioned earlier the IT teams, and usually, stereotypically, our IT guys are very good, but they're very quiet. They don't like to put their heads above the parapet. They follow your instructions. Half the time, they know so many solutions to all the problems that you are facing that we have tried to make. I think Glory, who's on this call, we've tried to make our IT team a central part of our decision making. And obviously that seems like a simple thing, but I think it's really important to make them feel good about it and make them celebrate their experiences. So we did a feature, for example, on one of those IT technicians who was just brilliant. He was always available. And we talked about a day in the life of Ram and what his life was like. That was enough acknowledgement. So for me, if you're thinking about internationalizing, you have to internationalize your learners, you have to internationalize your teachers, you have to internationalize as much as possible your curriculum wherever that's possible. But also look for tech that's available around the world and communities of practice. Everybody is going through exactly what we're facing. I'll stop there, Annika, and let people respond to that.
there's one thing that we benefited from during all through these COVID times. Universities opened up their classrooms and so on, and we could opt for any course. And I myself have attended 3 courses, and it was really, really wonderful. So this also, I think, teachers can make use of.
That's a really good point. In fact, quite a few, popular service providers like Coursera, FutureLearn, I know that they've made available some of those courses at no cost, really. I mean, it's free. It's great that they did that. We've all been through at least 3 courses, so you're absolutely right. I mean, any comments from Mala or Mr. Casey Reddy? If you can unmute yourselves, it'd be good to hear from you. Yeah. Hi, Mala.
Hi. Yeah, I have a power shutdown here, so I'm there is.
Oh, you're saving power.
I'm not able to switch on my camera. Sorry about it.
No, not at all. Yeah.
And this power is a lot of issues over there. Actually, this regarding all this teacher training, that is what is a great challenge that we are facing. We actually split the training into as pedagogical training and the technological training. So initially, before even starting the classes, there was a lot of technology training that we had to give, unless otherwise we were equipped to start. That was a great struggle, I should tell you. Like down south, mentality of the people, there had to be a lot of talk in preparing themselves to get accustomed to this kind of new normal, as is being told. So that technology training by itself, with the kind of facility they all had at home, it was a huge challenge. Initially, we did support by providing laptops from the schools, and still there were a few of them who had to make do with whatever limited resources they had. So, but then it took at least around 15 to 20 days to, though we had arranged the training and all, it took nearly 15-20 days to make people attend that training itself in an uninterrupted manner. Like, for example, right now with that power shutdown, I'm not able to connect or switch on the camera and all that. But still, we went through that particular phase, and all of them did cooperate, and we were able to start off with the online classes as such. But then regarding the pedagogical training, actually speaking, the lesson plans all were made for the physical classes. So we had to really, when this online technical training was going on, we scheduled the day in such a way, like one part was technological training, wherein training alone was not sufficient. Beyond that, there had to be time scheduled for them to practice on that. So the entire day had to be scheduled in such a way, like this much time you spend on training, then you spend this much time on practice, then you have a training on the pedagogy as well.
Yeah.
So though pedagogical training was given, still from the teacher side, there was a lot of effort that is to be taken. Like some of them wanted to do PPT, but to do PPT by itself was a challenge.
Yeah, you're right. I think it's not normal circumstances. It's something that none of us have witnessed, and I think it's not just a professional challenge, but it's also been a personal challenge.
Exactly.
So motivation levels, have not been consistent, and all of us have dealt with that. Something we found useful, Mala, was approaching smaller groups of teachers rather than, one big group. So we have about, if I can remember, 55, 60 teachers we work with. And both full-time and our freelance pool. you know, one session targeting all 60 would have not worked. You know, but we, you know, sort of get into smaller groups of 3, 4.
True.
All, you know, equally responsible for that group. Maybe that is something that you can try at your school and see. Which school are you from, Mala, if I may ask?
This is in Trichy, Kamala Niketan.
Okay, Trichy, all right. Great. So, so we moved on to teacher development quite organically. Any other challenges that?
Can I add something?
Yes,
so,
please.
Yeah, because the teachers are using unknown tools and visiting certain sites, so safety and privacy issues are also there. So to overcome that, what we do is that we try a tool and we try it amongst our teachers only. What could be the drawbacks or what are the safety issues? So then only we try it with the students. So that also, that is to be taken care of. Not to visit, unknown sites and using those tools. It could be scary because your entire like G Suite or whatever browser you're using, it could be hacked. So that is also a big concern.
Yeah, cyber safety for children and teachers as well, because you are online sharing and you don't. Hi, Lavanya. Okay. Yeah. We can't hear you, Lavanya.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Yes. Hi.
Good evening. Hi.
Would you like to add something?
Pardon?
I'd
like to listen and maybe to attend. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Feel free to post in the chat box as well, Lavanya. And we can take your question.
All right, Anagha, I am conscious of time. We just 5 minutes over, so I wondered if you wanted to summarize, but just one point on the cyber safety question.
Yeah.
If you look up on the British Council website, there is a lot. British Council is probably the leading authority on child protection in the world. A lot of the stuff that we have is for free. There are tools of assessment, there are guidance notes, there's all kinds of stuff there. And maybe that's something that we can organize for participants on this. So actually we can send them some CP briefing notes. It will be useful just as good practice, because it's an area that never goes away actually.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, Anagha, sorry, back to you, Anagha.
No, that's what I was actually going to round up the discussion. But before that, I was going to say that perhaps a sort of a skills audit might also be a tool that you want to try just to see where your teachers are. So, you can have more targeted intervention rather than a one size fits all. I think that's more the need of the hour than a generic training session. So that was going to be my comment on teacher capacity building. I think I'd like to wrap this up. So clearly, it's great that we all agree on points, that 21st century skills are important. Teacher capacity and teacher development will need to take a different shape and form, and that international exposure and inclusion, which we didn't quite get to, but I think you should keep this conversation. We should keep this conversation going outside of this discussion as well. Maybe I'll hand over to Madhi, who will just wrap this up for us.
Sorry, but I need to share something.
Yeah.
It's a very strange challenge. Just now I heard somebody talk about this inability to develop technical skills. But the other side of it is that they get so excited about the newfound technical competence that sometimes the pedagogical aspect is, neglected, and all the time, all the things that they've learned, those are demonstrated. I just wanted to make that point.
No, you're absolutely right. The balance between pedagogy and technology, and making smart decisions on what to do in your lesson and your curriculum is an important question that we should not forget to answer. So I think, Madhi, I'll hand it over to you. But Jason, I'd really like to, I don't know, continue this conversation outside. So I'm not sure how we do that, but I'll leave that with you, Jason. It would be great to have this community going. Yeah.
Of course, and like I said, the community has always been our strength, and we'd love to keep this going.
Thanks, Jason.
Madhi?
Yeah, I'm here. So I am unable to share my screen. The host has disabled screen sharing, but
Madhi,
I'm
just
conscious of.
enabled.
Yeah, all right. Before I begin screen sharing, that was a spectacular session. Thank you, principals, esteemed guests who were able to spend time and have this really great brainstorming session by the end of the day. What a beautiful end to my office day today. So thank you all for that. And I'm not sure if I can share screen, but
Madhi,
I
you
have
can
left
now.
my. Hold on. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to give you a 2-minute elevator pitch about British Council and our work in the last 6 months in building a robust online young learners portfolio for English and 21st century skills development. Like how Antonius and Anaga mentioned, we are over 100 countries bringing international opportunity to life every day. In India alone, we have engaged with about 60,000 children through our English learning centers in the last decade. This does not include the millions we engage with via our digital resources. I'm going to brush up through these slides. As we know, we are the world leaders in English teaching and developing teaching methods, a rich learning experience, both online and offline. And our teachers are our best assets, and our learning resources comes to that. We approach learning through creating a safe and nurturing English environment, as we spoke about it at a greater detail in this session as well. And with online programs, a safe and nurturing learning environment is in our top priority. And child safety, like Antonius had mentioned, we are leaders, global leaders in ensuring child safety is always a priority in anything we do. Apart from English, we try to equip children with life skills, a positive learning experience, and a clear sense of progress. We do this with 180,000 students globally every year. And the whole mantra behind our online Young Learners program, whatever class or age they are from, it's about unlocking confidence and inspiring creativity. And all our programs are taught between self-access at-home learning and taught hours, equally split between those two elements. And that's our program portfolio in a nutshell. That's just the Young Learners program, where I have categorized it according to the platforms we use. And we have courses from age groups 5 to 17. Primary plus and secondary plus are our most popular courses that runs between 6 weeks to 18 weeks. And then we have an IELTS test preparation program, early years program, and Speak Out, Write Right for 11 to 14-year-olds. And for a school, we always look at bringing a value proposition that kind of looks at all the key stakeholders in the school, the management, parents and students and teachers, and by extension, the whole school as an entity with these three stakeholders. So the programs, I will share this presentation to Jason, so it will be in your mailbox as soon as possible. So it goes in detail about what the learning outcomes are and how it varies varies as the child grows age-wise. And our three key areas for improvement is building confidence, expressing themselves in a safe environment, and developing important life skills. So we have secondary plus for 11 to 17, again built on the three key objectives of any of our course program. And the course structure, like I said, is between 6 to 18 weeks with STEM club session for older kids, So that's not a high resolution picture, but like Anaga had suggested already, we focus on 6 key skills: digital literacy, leadership and personal development, critical thinking and problem solving, collaboration and communication, creativity and imagination, and citizenship. Most of which, fortunately, and to my surprise, all the principals who had shared their inputs during the roundtable mentioned either one or more of these skills when they were sharing their ideas on how to improve children for the improve skills for children to face the new normal, and we have actually structured our learning outcomes accordingly. And there's another stressing slide on a safe place to learn. And as I mentioned, it will be taught on, our programs are taught on a platform called Eternix, which will allow parents to track classes, the school to track progress of every child, and weekly communication of our recommendations and articles, so that learning continues even after our class hours. So that's like an express presentation of what I wanted to share with you all. More importantly, we would love to catch up with you, and I know 1 hour and 10 minutes are not enough, but thanks to VExpo for giving us such an amazing platform to meet with lovely people across India, and we really look forward to getting to know you more and getting to know your school's needs at a greater detail, and see how we can support you in all the amazing things you do for the children. And like I said earlier, I have left my mail ID and Glory, our business head for learning services, mail ID in the chat window. So you might want to make note of it. Oh yeah, Anaga has left her mail ID as well. So amongst the 3 of us, we would be happy to take calls, mails, discussions with you. And we would love to do more like this, Jason. So we really look forward to seeing you all in another such August occasion like this. So I'll just shut up now. I think I ran over my stipulated time.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you so much, principals. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Sure.
Thank you so much, Madhi. Thank you so much, Antonio. Thank you, Anaga, and each and every one of esteemed guests that we've had today. I'm already thinking this is over too soon. So yes, I'm certainly looking forward for another session. And I look forward to having you all in our campus partner network, where you should all also explore the Knowledge Setu app, various such engagements, and I think we've been repeating it multiple times. The strength of the community gives us a great platform for collaborating and creating a lot of knowledge sharing. So it's been great to connect with you all. I hope you all stay safe until we connect back. We'll come back to you pretty soon with yet another insightful session. Thank you very much. Indeed, I think it was a great session. Just to mention, offline, I had a couple of requests saying that we have certain other engagements, so I'll probably, move out during the last part of the session. But I see everybody still here with us, so I think that's how the session was. I'm personally leaving with a lot of learnings, and one of our key learnings, apart from all the actual productive insights, is always on the tech side. So I think that'll be my biggest learning. So however ready I am, there is always some bit of a glitch. So please do excuse us for that. We'll put together a much better tech show the next time we connect. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Lovely
Thanks,
meeting you.
Jason. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Have a good day. Bye.